Here.
Mr. DiLoretto.
Here.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Ms. Curto. Here. Mr. Metcalf.
Here.
Mr. Paul.
Here.
Mr. Villamagna.
Here.
All members of council are here and accounted for. Mr. Davis.
Yes, Your Honor. I move that the minutes, May 12, 2015 and May 19, 2015 be accepted as written.
It's been regularly moved to second that the minutes of May 12, 2015 and May 19, 2015 be accepted as written. Roll call.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Curto. Aye. Mr. Metcalf.
Aye.
Mr. Paul.
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna.
Aye.
So moved. Minutes accepted. Petitions and communications, Madam Clerk.
I have none.
We will now move into resolution number 2015-45 by council as a whole for its third and final reading.
Resolution number 2015-45, a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for financial assistance for public recreation purposes through the State of Ohio Nature Works program.
You heard the third and final reading of resolution number 2015-45. Is there anyone wishing to speak on it? Please come forward, state your name and address. Not members council. Roll call.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Curto. Aye. Mr. Metcalf.
Aye.
Mr. Paul.
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna.
Aye.
So moved. Resolution number 2015-45 duly adopted. Ordinance number 2015-50 by the Finance Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson, for its second reading. On the third reading.
Ordinance number 2015-50, an ordinance repealing the existing table of organization of the city of Steubenville, Ohio, and now enacting a table of organization for all employees of the city.
You heard the third and final reading of ordinance number 2015-50. Is there anyone wishing to speak on it? Please come forward, state their name and address. Not members council.
Question. Oh, wait. I want to say something, please. Okay. First of all, ordinance number 1954, whatever it is. I'm all for anybody getting a raise. However, I'm still upset and concerned about the city. Fire plugs need painted, downtown needs painted, everything needs painted. We got leaves out there for 3 and 4 years. And it's no fault of Mr. Bear. We got 2 people working for the recreation department. If it wasn't for volunteers in this town, probably anything would get done. I'm more interested in hiring some people this summer and getting this town cleaned up. Hasn't been cleaned up for at least 5 or 6 years. And also, Mr. Lewis, next time we put out a table of organizations, I'd like to have in the extreme right-hand corner another column adding all the fringe benefits that everyone makes. I think sometimes this is deceiving, and when we do, I'll get on that later on. So that's how I feel. I feel we should be able to spend $15,000 or $20,000 to get our city cleaned up. And it's not the department head's fault. There's money someplace, it's time to put it in our city. Thank you. You hear me, everybody here?
Thank you, Mr. DiLoretto. Is there any other member of council wishing to speak on ordinance number 2015-50? Mr. Villamagna.
Yes, Mayor. Along with Mr. DiLoretto, I am a strong proponent of the fire department, and I want to see them get their raise, which was given to them by law. We negotiated a contract with them. ASME has a raise already through contract that they're going to receive after we vote for this. The non-union people who are not management will also receive a 2.2% raise. My complaint is with the management part of this. I believe that management is different than rank and file. I said that before, and the economy the way it is today, I'm going to read these salaries. This is just the way they came off of that paper. Law director, $71,633.33. Fire chief, $89,593. $78,173.80. On the table of organization, it says it's $78,173. It's actually $89,593. The police chief on the table, it says $78,173.06. Actually, it's $87,329.80. The M&R superintendent is $64,276.99. Engineer is $81,242.72. The finance director is $64,276.99. Parks and Recreation director is $42,515. Urban Projects director is $69,712.66. Health Commissioner is $57,380.13. The Municipal Court Judge, our share of it is $37,949. And the Utility Director is $75,000. Now, to me, those are all pretty good wages for this area, for what's going on here with the jobs that are going south here. And we got 9 people working for the M&R department. When I took council, I thought there was way more than 9. When I found out there was 9, I understand a little bit how things get backed up now. I think we could take some of this money, maybe hire 2 more guys for the M&R department. But to lump this together with the fire department and management and everything, I don't know of any place else in the country that does that. And that's why I'm against lumping them together, and that's why.
Thank you, Mr. Bill Magna. Any other members of council wishing to speak on ordinance number 2015-50?
Yeah, Nate.
Mr. Paul.
Yes, sir, thank you. Do I feel these people behind me deserve this? I do. I feel every one of these people back there. I asked one of these people anytime, Bob Baird, Chuck, Mike, Mary Beth, Dave, you're new. Would you help me anytime I need something? You never give me any problems. Do I feel you deserve it? Yes, I very much feel you deserve it. But the people you have, as you brought up, 9 people in the MR department, they work wonders with the 9 people they have. She works with 2 people in the recreation department. I feel they need it. The fire department, you know what? I'm tired of them getting beat up. I like the fire department. They're sitting on their butt. That's fine with me because they're not in danger. All right? Our police force is doing a great job around here. So I kind of like you guys just to lay off the fire department and to lay off the police department. Other than that, I'm good. Short and sweet, as Sean would say.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Any
You're
other
welcome.
member of council wishing to speak on ordinance number 2015-50?
What?
Roll call.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto?
No.
Mr. Johnson?
No.
Ms. Kurtdahl? Aye. Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Bill Magna?
No.
So moved. Ordinance number 2015-50 duly adopted. Ordinance number 2015-54 by the Finance Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson.
Ordinance number 2015-54, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2014-75, the existing table of organization of the city of Steubenville and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Metcalf.
You have to wait.
Oh, that's right. It's in the caption. Thank you. You heard the reading of ordinance number 2015-54. Is there anyone wishing to speak on it? Please come forward, state their name and address. If not, Mr. Metcalf.
Anyways, we're going to try this. This is in conjunction, I know Kenny sits on the Finance Committee. This really falls under Parks and Rec, and what they're doing is basically bringing the wages up to minimum wage to the state of Ohio for our lifeguards and our summer food workers. And that has gone from $8 to now $8.40. So that's what this for, is to follow state law, minimum wage. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. Mr. Davis?
Also, just to clarify that just a little bit, Mr. Metcalf is correct. However, this is wording in that ordinance so that every year when the minimum wage changes, we don't have to worry about it saying $8.40 or $8.70. It will automatically go to the minimum wage, and that's why it's being done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Any other members of council wishing to speak on ordinance number 2015-54?
Question.
Roll call.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kurtall? Aye. Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna?
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2015-54 will be adopted as an emergency, and it will go into effect immediately. I neglected to mention that the prior ordinance, 2015-50, that was adopted by City Council, the effective date of that ordinance will be June 26th. Resolution number 2015-54 by the Finance Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson, for its first reading. How come I got 57? Excuse me, I have... Ordinance number 2015-55 by the Economic Development Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Ms. Kurtall, Mr. Davis.
Ordinance number 2015-55, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager and mayor to sign a conveyance agreement with Jefferson County Port Authority.
Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor. Pursuant to Article 3, Section 3B of the Charter of the City of Steubenville, I move that the rule requiring ordinances and resolutions be read on 3 separate occasions, be suspended, and the second and third reading of ordinance number 2015-55 be waived and be considered this evening for its body's passage or rejection.
Second.
It's been readily moved and second that we will waive the second and third reading for ordinance number 2015-55. Roll call.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Kurtall? Aye. Mr. Metcalf?
Aye.
Mr. Paul?
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna?
Aye.
So moved. We will waive the second and third reading for ordinance number 2015-55. Will the clerk please read the caption again?
Ordinance number 2015-55, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager and mayor to sign a conveyance agreement with Jefferson County Port Authority.
Before I call for public comments, we do have tonight our Economic Development Director, Evan Skirty, with us, CEO of the Port Authority, who would like to make reference to this ordinance. Mr. Skirty?
Just to clarify that the Port Authority Board of Directors has already acted on the transaction. We've signed the purchase agreement between the Port Authority and the diocese. We've already signed the conveyance agreement in front of you from the city to the Port Authority. As you know, under state law, you're able to do this to sell land through your local Port Authority without a competitive bid when it's for an economic development purpose. So that's what we've set up. Our attorney working with Mr. Rapella and Mr. Tom Wilson, the diocese, established a procedure where the port could act first, and we signed our documents, but it clearly states it's contingent upon your action tonight to convey the properties to us. And once you do that, we'll move toward closing and transfer deeds.
Thank you, Mr. Skirty. And Mr. Skirty, just to I'll point out, although we did waive the second and third reading, council understanding the economic impact and moving the project forward, if it is adopted by the members of council this evening, the effective date of this ordinance won't be until June 26th. Mr. DiLoretto?
And where are those two houses located? I couldn't find them. They have been numbers on the houses.
These are 8 parcels
Wait, they-
surrounding the cathedral department under there.
Okay. My homes don't have numbers on them. Thank you, Leslie.
Some of them are vacant lots,
Oh, okay.
Mr. DiLoretto.
Thank you.
Any other, is there anyone wishing, let's call for public comments. Do we know she wants to be on?
Well, yeah, just real quick, and Evan forgot to mention that we did appraisals on each piece of property, so that money will be passing from the diocese to the port to the city.
Thank you, Mr. Rappel. Is there anyone wishing to speak on ordinance number 2015-55? Please come forward, state your name and address. If not, members of council? Question. Roll call.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. DeLoretto.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Kurtolo. Mr. Metcalf.
Aye.
Mr. Paul.
Aye.
Mr. Villamagna.
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2015-55 duly adopted. Ordinance number 2015-56 by the Finance Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson.
Ordinance number 2015-56, an ordinance amending sections 191.03 and 191.04 of the codified ordinances of the city of Steubenville, Ohio, by enacting the wage and profit tax of the city of Steubenville, Ohio from 2% to 2.25% for a 5-year period, allocating the additional 0.25% increase to be used as follows: to fund police and fire services, to be placed on the ballot on the general election on November 3rd, 2015, for a vote by the people upon said ordinance, authorizing the Board of Elections of Jefferson County, Ohio, to conduct said election.
You heard the first reading of ordinance number 2015-56. Its second reading is scheduled 2 weeks hence on June 9th. The third and final reading will be scheduled for June 23rd. Effective date of this particular ordinance, if adopted, will be July 24th. Resolution number 2015-57 by the Finance Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson, for its first reading.
Resolution number 2015-57, a resolution submitting the question of enacting a 0.25% municipal income tax levy for a 5-year period to the electors of the city of Steubenville, Ohio, for their approval or rejection at a general election to be held within the city of Steubenville on November 3rd, 2015, such levy being used for the purpose of funding police and fire services.
You heard the first reading of resolution number 2015-57. Its second reading is scheduled for June 9th. The third and final reading on June 23rd. If adopted, the effective date will be July 24th. Ordinance number 2015-58 by the Public Utility Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Mr. DeLoretto, Ms. Kurtolo.
Ordinance number 2015-58, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to participate in the Ohio Department of Transportation Cooperative Purchasing Program for one IBAC mainline camera system.
This ordinance did receive its first reading, or is receiving its first reading this evening. Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor. Once again, pursuant to Article 3, Section 3B of the Charter of the City of Steubenville, I move that the rule requiring ordinances and resolutions be read on 3 separate occasions be suspended, and the second and third readings of ordinance number 2015-58 be waived and be considered this evening for this body's passage or rejection.
Second.
It's been regularly moved and seconded that we waive the second and third reading for ordinance number 2015-58. Roll call.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. DeLoretto.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Kurtolo. Aye. Mr. Metcalf.
Aye.
Mr. Paul.
May I ask a question before we go this far? Before we get,
State your question.
yes. May I ask what the IBAC camera is all about? I just found out a little bit ago, but I think maybe,
Mr., as soon as we suspend the second, third, Mr. Murphy asked already to speak on it, and I will recognize him.
okay, I thought maybe we would do this before we got this far, but that's no problem.
You guys bring it on the floor.
Why don't we do it before we do all this? I guess I'll say no. Go ahead.
Mr. Bill Magna.
Aye.
So moved. We will waive the second and third reading on ordinance number 2015-58. Will the clerk read the caption?
Ordinance number 2015-58, an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to participate in the Ohio Department of Transportation Cooperative Purchasing Program for one IVAC mainline camera system.
Before I call for public comment, our superintendent, Mr. Murphy, would like to address ordinance number 2015-58.
What this ordinance is about is for the purchase of the IVAC camera system. The IVAC camera system is a sewer video camera system that is very, very important and vital to the city on many fronts. Many of us have spoken about water loss issues. This camera helps find them and has helped find a lot of lost water. It never ever surfaces. It enters into directly into the sewer lines underground. We go in with the camera looking for these items and basically find them, and then we are able to then locate the actual broken pipe on the water side and make that repair, saving the city not only the treatment costs on the water side, but also the treatment costs on the wastewater side. And without this camera, we let that run for forever, and you can have leaks totaling north of 100,000 gallons a day. It is a very, very important piece of equipment. It is also important from the standpoint of the sewer lines themselves, as you find holes in the pipe where dirt filters in over time, ends up going ahead and creating sinkholes underneath roadways, things of that nature. And that camera will help to find those problems before they become serious and then an accident occurs or something of that nature. We also currently have, as it stands, a situation, which is the reason why I asked for us to have the second and third readings waived, where our current camera system is literally on its very last legs. They've been struggling to keep it alive. We were hoping to get this in next year. It's not going to happen. That being said, Logan Avenue sewer line, 36-inch brick, has a big problem where we had a bunch of river rock sized from about this size and this thick all the way down to pea gravel and everything in between. Jammed up the line, caused the sewer overflow directly to the river. We need this camera in order to be able to go into that line and find it. And even if our old camera was working, we would have to go ahead and actually contract that out because our current system is only good for lines up to 24 inches. We have lines that go well north of that. This one is 36 that I'm talking about. We have others that go as large as 54 inches. Our current camera system will not handle that. And therefore, as such, those are the lines that carry the bulk of the flow in the city, and without it, especially them being old and brick, we are putting ourselves and our infrastructure at great risk.
That camera that Fort Steubenville maintenance used out there, is that the kind of camera that you
Fort Steubenville.
on Scioto Drive, they use that camera to find that connection?
No, this is a very small one.
A little more high-tech.
This is going to be a lot more high-tech. It's going to go ahead and actually be able to keep us online longer because you're going to have a longer reel to it and everything else. It's going to have a much bigger tractor for it to where you can go ahead and get the lighting that you need and to be able to see what's going on, document it properly. This is also going to incorporate training for our personnel to make sure that they go ahead and are able to grade out pipelines, things of that nature, to know when I come to you guys here at council and say, hey, we have this problem in this sewer line, this is what we need to do with it, and here's why. You're going to have pictures, video, things of that nature to go ahead and document all of that. It'll also help us to go ahead and plan for the future so that we don't end up having University Boulevard, as an example, sneaking up on us. We'll know about it before it gets to that degree, and then we can address it, and thereby keep the costs down. So this is very much a cost savings measure for the city. Also, it should be understood, yeah, this is $210,000, but what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and lower our budget amount for the repair and replacement to offset the cost so that there will be zero impact to the budget at all. And you will actually see a positive impact in that we will not have to hire out, as we did with University Boulevard, for $40,000 for one line that size, and we've got 15 of them. So this will more than pay for itself.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. And Chuck, if I'm not mistaken, I think we're still anticipating in a 5-year lease purchase
Yes.
of the camera, and it's at $44,270.59. I hear no objections, I would like, there was a email sent out to all members of council and the department from our city manager on Tuesday, May 19th, with an explanation per Director Murphy that outlines the cost and basically what Chuck talked about. Hearing no objections, I would like that email entered into the record. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. Any other member, you had anything else, Mr. Paul?
No, I just wanted to explain what it was all about before, and that's okay.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Paul. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Is there anyone wishing to speak on ordinance number 2015-58? Please come forward, state their name and address. Members council.
Question.
Roll call.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. DeLoretto.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Ms. Kershaw. Aye. Mr. Metcalf.
Aye.
Mr. Paul.
Aye.
Mr. Villamagnum.
Aye.
So moved. Ordinance number 2015-58 duly adopted. Ordinance number 2015-59 by the Finance Committee, Mr. Metcalf, Mr. Davis, Mr. Johnson, for its first reading.
Ordinance number 2015-59, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2014-16 and adopting the indirect cost allocation plan of the city of Steubenville.
Here is the first reading of ordinance number 2015-59. Its second reading is scheduled for June 9th, the third and final reading on June 23rd. If adopted, the effective date will be July 24th. That will conclude the ordinances and resolutions before City Council this evening. We will now move into the report of committees from the members of council. We'll start off with Mr. Davis.
I have nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Dioretto.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Dioretto. Mr. Johnson.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Ms. Kurdahl.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Kurdahl. Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor. In conjunction with Mr. Paul, Chairman of our Safety Committee, we're going to have a joint Finance Safety meeting on the 9th of June, 6 o'clock. Two issues on the docket to start with will be discussions on ordinance number 2015-56 and resolution number 2015-57, which are the levies, and also on the cost grant. Anything else, Will, you want to add in there?
No, I just want to, go ahead, you're good.
That's all I have this evening, Your Honor. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. Do you want to add to that now?
Well, yeah, we pushed it back to the second, but now we're going to go in conjunction. Because I'm out of town next week. That's the only reason I'm changing June 2nd to the 9th, because I forgot I was out of town. City manager was in Missouri, and I switched it, so my fault. So we'll do it on the 9th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Metcalf. Thank you, Mr.
Paul.
Paul. And the clerk will facilitate the proper notices for a joint meeting on June 9th, Safety and Finance at 6 p.m. here in Council Chamber. We will continue on to the report of committees to Mr. Paul. You done?
I'm done, Your Honor.
Mr. Villamagnum.
Mayor, I have something I wanted to ask Mr. Golak about the roads and something about the north end ball field, but if you want me to wait until miscellaneous or...
Can you please?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Villamagnum. We'll be getting to you real soon. That will conclude the report of committees from the members of council. We will now move into the report of the administrative officers. In the absence of our city manager, as acting city manager appointed by Mr. Baldwin, I have received communication from Mike Golak, our city engineer, for a recommendation of award for the Loretta Drive water line replacement project. If council can recall, we approved this project through the ordinance number 2015-9. Bids were open. The engineer's estimate was $565,135. We received 3 bids, the lowest being Recknick Excavating of Strasburg, Ohio, at the the bid of $546,000. Hearing no objections, we would like to enter into the agreement with Resnick Excavating. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. Mr. Dolak, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, Mayor, we will not be able to enter into a contract until we get notice from the Ohio Department of Development regarding a $91,700 grant. Fairly sure we're going to get the grant. We signed some papers about a week ago, but that will take a couple of weeks to process. So we cannot enter into a contract until we get that grant agreement in place. So hopefully we'll be entering into a contract sometime within the next 2 to 3 weeks. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Dolak. The other thing I just want to comment on this past week, once again, has been a really outstanding and fantastic week for our community. A lot of activities. Of course, we had the kickoff of the concert series last Thursday. Rather small, but a car show out in front of the city building. Saturday, we had the opportunity of dedicating the flags that you see across the street, one for each branch of the services. There's 8 flagpoles. What a beautiful day, a beautiful atmosphere, and what a great way to salute the men and women that serve our country, and to kick off Veterans Day services. And then, of course, yesterday with Veterans services happening at Mount Calvary Cemetery and Union Cemetery was really outstanding. And as I spoke at Union Cemetery, I indicated to everybody, sometimes not only the youth, but people across this nation lose sight of how important to take time to pause momentarily and really show a debt of gratitude to our forefathers who gave so much. Memorial Day is the time that we can recognize who gave the ultimate supreme sacrifice. Veterans Day is a day where we can recognize all veterans that serve this country that are living. But we really should show our appreciation 365 days a year to the men and women who continue to serve this country. And every day we should pray for the safe return of those who are in harm's way. With that being said, we will now move on to the other administrative officer, to our law director, Mr. Rappel.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to inform council that, as you guys all know, back on December 15th of 2014, the state auditor made a finding against one of our former employees in the amount of $3,538. They made that finding after a criminal investigation by the Ohio Criminal Bureau of Investigation, and their findings were given to our prosecutor, the county prosecutor here, because the crime was a felony. So talking to our prosecutor a few months ago made the decision that she thought that she didn't have enough evidence to convict this person. One of the reasons that she used was that the box where they would keep cash in that office, they didn't have any controls, or they didn't have a policy where one person, was responsible for the box. So, so that was one of the reasons she gave. But it was my opinion, I thought there was some other evidence that could have been used, and I was hoping that she would have been prosecuted with the felony. However, since that is out of my jurisdiction, and that's the county prosecutor's decision to make, that wasn't going to happen. So the next best thing that I did is I talked to this former employee's attorney, and during those talks, they agreed to repay the $3,538, which I received a check today, gave it to Dave over there, and in return, I issued them a letter where, on behalf of the city, there would be no prosecution of this individual. Now, I just want to state again that I feel that it was a felony. Well, obviously it was a felony, and I feel that after I looked at the report that we could have prosecuted her and we could have prevailed. However, that's not my decision to make, so I went and I did the next best thing. I collected the money from her, that way we don't have to turn it into our insurance company. As you all know, you turn it into your insurance company, and then later on our rates go up. So I just wanted to inform council of this action today, and if any of you have any questions about this, we'll take them at this time. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Rapella. We will now continue on. I do know that I know that we had one signing in, Chuck Murphy, that wants to explain about the hydrant flushing that's going to happen within our community.
Yes. On commencing June 1st, running through June 5th, we have 1 day at least in there to allow for a water line break, things of that nature. We are going to commence with hydrant flushing with the purpose of trying to get debris that's in our lines and those dead ends, things of that nature, and low spots in our city out to try and resolve some of the issues we've been dealing with the brown water, dirty water complaints. It's been quite some time, to say the least, since we have flushed. We are hoping to alleviate a lot of those issues through this particular program. This program will commence June 1st, 9 p.m. and run through 2 a.m. We advise that you not do any laundry or anything of that nature during that span of time. And before you start any laundry, even after that, outside those time frames, please check your cold water first, make sure that it's clear, as well as your hot water, so you don't cause any issues, because some things still can carry in even after the flushing is done. So this is one of the first legs of the program to address the dirty water complaints that we've been dealing with. I have here copies of this for everybody here who wants to take one. We are going to have them over at the utility office as well as at the front desk, and I'm going to do my best to distribute them to post office, library, and even some of the local businesses in the hopes of getting the word out to everybody. So please tell your friends and neighbors, if you would, to help get the word out. We'd be greatly appreciative of that. And this is also on our website, on the city's website, under the press releases. The consumer confidence report for 2000.
Mr. Murphy, if you could just hang on for a second. Hearing no objections, the release that he's making reference to, would like it to be entered into the record. Hearing no objections, it is so ordered. And at this time, although you kind of briefed over it, and I think it's rather important, especially the lower areas that might be affected, I will ask the clerk to read this into the record also.
The Steubenville Water Department will be flushing hydrants beginning June 1st and will continue through June 5th. The flushing will begin each day at 9 p.m. and run through 2 a.m. the following morning. Residents may experience low pressure and/or discolored water during the flushing. Please check the tap prior to doing laundry. The water department regrets any inconvenience this may cause. The approximate dates the different areas will likely see flushing activity is as follows. June 1st, Epps Lane, Dryden Road, Lovers Lane, White Oaks, Brockton Road, Jordan Subdivision, Hiddenwood, Pembroke Road, Country Club Hills, Starkdale Road, Fort Steuben Mall, and Westwood Estates. June 2nd, Trinity West, Opal Boulevard, Portland Avenue, Wilma Avenue, Elaine Street, Glenwell Subdivision, Chestnut Avenue, Ravine Street, Whitehaven, Devonshire, Norris Street, Bray Barton, Powell Avenue, Garfield, Alexander Manor, Buena Vista Subdivision, Cleveland Avenue, Rockdale Avenue, and Delwood. June 3rd, Pleasant Heights, Slaybell, Lincoln Heights. June 4th, the north and south ends of town will be flushed on both the 4th and the 5th of June. The schedule is approximate. Again, we apologize for any inconvenience. Anyone with any questions can call us at the water plant at 283-6041. Thank you, Steubenville Water.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And as it was indicated, that's for a short period of time, from June 1st to June 5th. However, caution, even after that, please let your faucet run. Make sure it's not discolored. Mr. Murphy.
The 2014 Consumer Confidence Report, which indicates the quality of the water that the filtration plant is producing, is now posted on the city's website. It is right on the main page. Click right on it. It'll take you directly to it. So you can view it there. You can even take and print off a copy if you wanted to, or just read it online. This report will also be available and posted at the post office, both libraries, over at utility office, and copies of this report will also be available at the utility office, the front desk there at reception, for folks to go ahead if they wanted to have a copy to pick up and take with them. And again, here tonight, I also have copies here available for the residents who might be interested if they'd like one.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Any members of council have a question for Mr. Murphy?
I have one.
Mr. Paul?
I had a phone call today, and it's about Alexander Manor. They're experiencing groundwater, and I know we've flushed up there a couple times. Their question to me was, do you think we need to have their water tested? Right now, he's buying bottled water. He said he's afraid to wash his clothes. Do you think they're still experiencing the same problem that I came to you with about 3 weeks ago? And even we've flushed up there 3 times. So does he need to have, do we need to go test his water, or is it okay?
Yeah, the water is okay. We have gone ahead and taken and tested samples in various locations regarding these same issues, not even too far from there. And essentially what we have experienced is, to go ahead and give everyone a better understanding of it, is this is a multi-issue problem that we're dealing with. One of the issues is, hasn't been flushed in quite some time, so flushing here or flushing there at those dead ends isn't necessarily going to remove all the debris out of the water lines. Some of this is just a little bit of corrosion inside the pipes, as far as things are concerned. And to address that issue, starting May 1st, we reintroduced some zinc to go ahead and help to protect the water lines. It's nothing that's harmful to the human beings. You can actually get it in your vitamins and minerals, quite literally. And essentially, that will go ahead and help to recoat the line, which is what I think part of our problem is, to go ahead and prevent the corrosion moving forward. We're going to be feeding that for at least a year, which is what the consultant who had that project for the filtration plant had recommended as part of the corrosion protection program. So that's
Rust inhibitor.
it's a rust inhibitor, exactly. So that way we're going to try and stop that clock on that end. And then we also have issues where at the filtration plant, there's some valves that have gone ahead and been going bad on us, dropping out, causing some water hammer. So if you got a little bit of dirt in the bottom of the bottle, you shake it up real good, all of a sudden the whole bottle turns brown or whatever the case may be. So we're getting pricing in on that as fast as we can from the vendors to address that part of the aspect as well. So again, and then there's some pump issues we've been dealing with, and we're dealing with those as well. So it's a multifaceted approach, and yes, the water is safe to drink. We have been testing it as far as things are concerned to make sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Anything further, Mr. Paul?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. That will conclude the reports from the administrative officers. Once again, we'd like to thank the department head for attending. This evening, we will now move into miscellaneous reports. Mr. Bill Mack.
Yes, Mayor. On the way down to the council meeting, a friend of mine from Wellsville asked me to stop by the North End Field. There's a girls' baseball game there, and he took a picture of this. The weeds are about 3 foot high inside the dugout where the girls were at. So if you could have somebody check that to see where it is. I drove down there and I took a picture of it. It's pretty high inside the dugout there. And my next thing was, I remember we had talked about, you were setting up, you were going to get some information about F-Lane.
Yeah.
And we were going to maybe set up a meeting.
Yeah, I'm working on that right now with the consultant. I have received some calls regarding the condition of that lane, and I'm going to set up a meeting with the street superintendent and Mr. Bowler on Thursday to maybe try to do some major patchwork out there to make that road you drive a little bit better.
Okay. Are we still going to have a meeting like with this?
As soon as the consultant finishes his analysis of different alternatives of what can be done, there's 2 projects actually including in that. One is F's Lane and the other one is Chestnut Alley. That's an issue there too. So he's kind of doing, those are coinciding, and we're doing those both together, try to save some costs.
And my last one is Marion Place. I know that you guys have been out to work the street I live on there. It's literally turning to gravel there, and it's like a puzzle, you know what I mean, how it's breaking up, where the cars are shooting asphalt out when they hit it. And I swept it once, but it's breaking as fast as it's going. And my concern is there's a lot of kids on that street, and the newspaper, the mailman, when he stops at the mailbox, it's downhill, he's sliding from the gravel. And I know it's on a priority list, but are we close to?
Well, maybe there's some patchwork that actually can be done on that street as well. I don't know if the sweeper, is it up and running yet? Close? Okay. There's probably some patchwork that can be done on there that help with that situation as well.
Yeah, because you know what I mean, when I call it a puzzle, but it's just breaking out chunk by chunk by chunk by chunk.
Map and alley, it looks like an alligator.
Exactly, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
There's some areas. Columbia Gas was working on the road, but, you know, they
patched their part.
They patched their parts,
Yeah.
right. Same as F Lane, I guess they said Columbia Gas, but Columbia Gas patched their parts.
I tried to convince him to go over a little bit.
So did we.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Belmagna. Thank you, Mr. Dolan. Mr. Davis?
Yeah, just in response to the north end situation, so the public does know that as the chair of the committee, I was notified today as well, and I called Mary Beth, and the reason that the north end field isn't completely cleaned up is because there was nobody using it, and we were on other projects with the two fellows that we have. We were notified 24 hours ago that they were going to use it today. She took one of our guys, our senior guy, off 2 other projects to put him down there, and he worked there all day long. He did not get to the dugouts, and it does look bad, but he'll be back to take care of that as soon as possible now that we know that that facility can be used more. Along with that, there are a lot of plans for North End Park coming up real soon, and so we're hoping to get that situation under control. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
He did say that the field looked good. He said just at the dugouts.
Thank you, Mr. Belmagna. Mr. Davis.
To answer both of those, Mary Beth knows, we've been talking for the last week about North End Ball Field and what needs to be done and the playground area, and we know there's going to be new equipment. And also, I told her today that I was going to start working on some volunteers because we've had one group come in from Urban Mission. They did do a partial cleanup on the playground, picked up some trash and around that area, but I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to ask the Legion and the property owners around there to help me, Mr. Saltzman and them, to help me do a cleanup around there because the area that we don't, the ball field, it's worse and weeds are growing over into the ball field, if you know the area right behind the wall. So we have been talking about that, Mr. Belmagna and I. Tell them I apologize. We apologize. We wish that it would have been better, but yeah, we're working on that, hopefully to get it done soon. So if there's any volunteers out there who would like to help me, I'm willing to go out there and do it myself also. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Curtis. That will conclude the miscellaneous reports from the members of council. We will now move into public forum. Is there anyone wishing to speak to City Council on city business? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Evening, everyone. I'm Mary O'Connor, 825 Ekron Court. I'm just wondering if you would consider having a grocery store downtown. It's really hard for our citizens, it's hard for the elderly and people without cars. It's just hard to get to the store. And we don't have the convenient anymore on 4th Street. That's for sale, so I'm just asking if you would consider that.
Let me indicate to you that that has been really a priority of the cities, especially former councilman Dave Fortunato. I know the 4th Ward Councilwoman continues to bring that up in our economic development meetings, and Ms. Curtis has a very concern. It's attracting somebody and enticing somebody to move in. You can even check with our economic development director, Mr. Skirty, We have those nipples and bites, and we thought we had somebody interested, but not as of yet. But I can assure you, it is a priority, and there is activities of a recruitment for a grocery store in the downtown area. We're not there yet.
All right.
But if you know anybody, send them our way.
I don't know anyone.
We'll talk to them about incentives.
Mr. You need parts for your car, we got 2 parts for it.
I know. Thank you.
But the Berkmans did a great job, we're doing a lot to that building, remodeling that building. We were always hoping that something would come down there.
I was too.
Yeah, but then they chose to build a new parts store across the street. I don't get
I
it,
know.
but that's fine,
I don't get it.
I'm all for that.
All right.
There might be some activity at that area by the urban mission, but we don't know that
Okay.
as of yet.
Oh, okay.
It is, you're right, without the convenience store, there's a loss for the downtown area. You can only buy so much, and it's rather rat food, like at Rite Aid and all.
Don't forget the Prestos. We got the
The
Prestos.
Prestos and the,
Yeah.
But thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address.
Hi, William Isaac, 389 Lawson Avenue, Steubenville. I just have 3 issues. The first issue is, I was walking around Les Bell near the Pizza Pie Park, and there was a group of kids on a bicycle. One of them happened to drive by me, and I got their attention, asked if they were allowed in the park. Now, I know they're not. I'm going to shut down. And the young child says, no, we're not allowed in the park since the shootings. And he just continued to ride his bike along. So they understand why the park's closed. I'm just concerned that maybe we should start gradually, just consider gradually opening it up to kids just to play in the park and on the grass. And they do it from sunrise to sunset. That's possible. So whatever committee that falls under, maybe take that under advisement. But the kids seem to know why they're not allowed. But I did see them drive around the park and not come through. So they are respecting that. It's just the young adults and older adults that are causing all these problems. But consider maybe opening up the park because summertime's coming, and maybe it'll be a benefit to keep the kids happy. Thanks. Another issue I'm looking forward to the safety committee on June 9th, and I typed up some information because I don't think there's public forum in the during those safety committees. So, Mr. Paul, you're the chairman. I just typed up some questions, and they're just general questions. Basically, a little bit. The last safety committee was excellent. We got a lot of information from Sean Scott on different things. So I just started down some concerns. Maybe they can be addressed. One is the weed tip program we had. How effective is it? Have we got any phone calls in on the weed tip? And how does that compare to the crime busters that WTO9 sponsors? Do we get maybe the same number of calls and tips in from either one? And if weed tip is not as effective as we thought, maybe we can tweak it a little bit.
Talk to Sean, Officer Scott.
So I just put some questions on here. Something about fire lane violations. Who has the responsibility? Yeah, I do. Can I come through?
Sure.
Give this to you.
Well, I'll make copies for other members of council also, but yeah.
Mr. Plank, I think it's appropriate to have those for the.
I will, I'll get it to everybody. I will.
For the committee meeting.
I will.
Okay, great. And you can go to my council member. Thanks. Appreciate it. And the last issue is on a public records request. There's a document out there that I had requested last Thursday, and I don't want to get into the specifics of it. I got a public records request, see if I can get a hold of that document. I promise you, I'll keep the document to myself. If anybody else wants a document, they can submit their own public records request. So, Mr. Boland's not here, so if I give this to my
All
council.
public record requests will go through our law department, Mr. Rapella. If you would forward that to. Thank you, Mr. Rapella.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak to city council on city business? Please come forward, state your name and address. If not, Mr.
I'm Kimberly Hahn. I live at 718 Bellevue Boulevard. I would like to ask you to reconsider even presenting for a vote an increase on the wage tax. I don't know if you know exactly where Steubenville is on the wage tax, but out of the 252 cities in the state of Ohio, we are already in the top 26 most expensive wage taxes. We have prayed for jobs to come to Steubenville for years, for decades. And one of the things that makes it unattractive to move a business here is to already have a 2% wage tax. If we adopt the small amount of increase, and it is relatively speaking small, if we adopt that, it will put us in the top 7% of the entire state of Ohio. And what we're doing is we're shortchanging the whole process, because we can either increase taxes on the taxpayers we have, or we can increase our tax base by drawing more businesses here because we're not increasing taxes. So I would like to ask you to reconsider whether or not this is something we really want to put forward for the people to vote on, and rather say we need the leadership in City Council to look at our budget and say, where do we need to change, adjust things so that we live within our means. And then let's really work at increasing our tax base, because then we will have more taxes for all the things that we do. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak to City Council on city business? Please come forward, state their name and address. If not, Mr. Metcalf.
Not, Your Honor, I move we adjourn the city.
Second. It's been ready to second that we adjourn.